center. If he hits one there, we can dance in the streets. The 2-1. Swung line drive left field. One run is in. Here comes Bree. He's the front of the plate. He is safe. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. They may have to hospitalize Sid Bree. He's down at the bottom of a huge pile at the plate. They help him to his feet. Frank Cabrera got the game winner. The Atlanta Braves are National League champions again. This crowd has gone berserk.
And welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn. And in the studio on the phone, actually, is the magic player of that 1992 NLDS playoffs, Sid Bream. Sid, welcome to Sports Econ 101.
Great to be with you guys out there.
Okay. Good. Now, first of all, I got to tell you, honestly, I was a Pittsburgh fan there because just a little background. My father-in-law played for the Steelers for a very short time, and then my great uncle used to watch Honus Wagner play. So I always had a little soft spot in my heart. But actually, you played for Pittsburgh before Atlanta.
I did. I mean, that was my longest stint as far as my major league playing days. I mean, I played 5 years in Atlanta. I mean, in Pittsburgh and only 3 in Atlanta. But both of them were great places to play.
Hey, that week leading up to the playoffs, I got being a member of the media myself. I'm sure, you probably can't count the number of times some TV reporter came up and asked you about playing against your former team.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been this time frame right now has been a little bit difficult. Back then it was difficult because of the situation that I was in. But I mean, again, in my opinion, I mean, the Pirates brought it on themselves because at the end of the 1990 season, they came out in the paper the very next day after we lost to Cincinnati in the National League Championship. And they stated that Sid Bream was our first priority to sign for next year. So with all that said, I mean, they didn't even get close to market price on me. And I was going to take their offer and stay in Pittsburgh if they'd just give me a no-trade clause. And when they didn't even give me a no-trade clause and I was going to take a ton of money less to stay in Pittsburgh, I just said, man, if I'm your first priority, I'd hate to see what your last one is. Yeah. So, it's just one of those things that what goes around comes around. And for me, it came around that I was able to put it back in management's space a little bit.
Wow, wasn't even dollars and cents. It was just, hey, they didn't put that no-trade clause in there, and then that was it. Wow.
I got a story that I heard. I want to hear it from you if you've actually heard the same story. That you're on second base, Francisco Cabrera is up to bat, and apparently Van Slyke motions over to Bonds to tell him where Cabrera usually hits, and Bonds flipped him off, apparently. And so
it wasn't so much that, I mean, he told him where Francisco would hit. Bonds, if you ever have a chance to see where he was playing that night, he was only about five yards in front of the warning track. And so Andy was trying to just motion him in just to move in some towards the infield. And at that point in time, Barry flipped him off and said, forget you, get out of my life, and what occurred at that point in time. But, at the same time, last year, we were up at Major League Baseball, and we were going through that whole game. And Andy Van Slyke and Mark Lemke and myself were there. And Andy said, even if he would have moved in, the angle that he might have had to go in order to get to that ball that was hit, it might have hurt him a little bit more because he might not have been able to get himself righted or get his momentum going the right way to be able to throw the ball into home. I mean, he would have had to take some steps to get himself where he could throw the ball home. So the angle where he was coming from was a little bit less, and he was able to get right his ship a little bit better. Who knows?
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point in time. But
sure.
At the same time, I mean, Barry did flip him off and say, "Forget you," and now he has something to say.
Hey, who was the third base coach for the Braves at the time? Just curious if you saw his arms waving to just go, 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 or you were just,
Well,
hey, you were just coming.
it was Jimmy Williams, and a lot of people have asked me over the years, did you see Jimmy Williams hold you up? And I said, I can't believe that he did, but if he did, I mean, shame on him. I mean, he had already tied it up,
Sure.
and the chance of getting another base hit were slim. I mean, you always put the pressure on the defense, and so when that ball was hit, I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you to this day. Jimmy Williams said no, he was waving me, but I couldn't tell you to this day because I don't remember ever seeing him.
It's such a bang play. When you hit home plate, did you know right away, or did you have to look for the safe sign?
No, I mean that's why you see in all the pictures. I mean, I'm looking up at Randy just to make sure because I didn't know. I mean, good grief. I mean, it was a bang. I mean, Spanky had to reach out just a little bit to get the ball to bring it back, and a lot of people said Juan's made such a terrible throw. Well, today most guys they can't even throw the ball to stinking home plate, let alone put it just to the outstretch of where the catcher is.
Sure.
And so Barry Bonds made a great throw. If it would have been right there, I mean, if Spanky didn't have to move, I would have been out for sure. But because he had to reach out to the right just a little bit to come back to the plate, I mean, that was the difference in me getting in there and beating it by about 4 inches.
Well, it's funny. You weren't known necessarily for your speed, but yet, I've watched the clip a couple of times, and you were motoring.
Well, just understand this. I mean, I had 5 knee surgeries on my right knee. I mean, an ACL and 4 other cleanups as far as my knee was concerned. I had a big brace on. Back when I started in the game, I still believe that I have the record for first baseman for Pittsburgh. I mean, I used to be able to run. I mean, I wasn't a Deion Sanders. I wasn't an Andy Van Slyke, but I could run. And I used to go first and third with the best of them on my team.
There you go.
But with that knee, I mean, it definitely slowed me down to the point that it wasn't the fact that I got beat by Deion Sanders in a race. I mean, I know that that's not real. You guys aren't saying, right, okay, like you're going to beat Deion Sanders. But the fact of the matter is, he was going backwards when I was going forward later on.
Okay. Hey, I wonder how many months elapsed or years elapsed or whatever before you actually had to pay for a meal in Atlanta after that?
Well, I mean, you are correct. I mean, the sad part about it is, I mean, I had that 1 year because after that 1 year in '93, then I was gone. So if I would have stayed down there, you're right. I mean, I might not have ever had to pay for a meal for several years.
I'm wondering how sore were you from that dog pile up?
I mean, I wasn't sore at all. To grief. I mean, you know about sports. I mean, the adrenaline.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just loving every bit of it. I've told people, I said, I could have thrown them all off if I wanted to. Adrenaline. So I wasn't hurt at all. I mean, it was just a great time of celebration, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Hey, for all of us wannabes, share with us what that moment is like to be in that pile, that mosh pit, in the middle of that euphoria when you just, I mean, it's Game 7, Sid.
That's it.
And to be in that moment, please share that with us.
Well, I mean, just picture, I guess the best thing is just picture that you were doing something you absolutely love, and you're getting paid for it, first of all. I mean, so you're doing something that you absolutely love, and you're getting paid for it, and now you're in a situation where the other 26 or 28 teams are sitting there watching you play. So I mean, you were on the grand stage, and this all happens. I mean, it is just something. Just look. I mean, for 20 years. I mean, last year that play was voted the 4th most exciting play in Major League Baseball history since 1960.
That's amazing.
And so, I mean, it gets played constantly. I'm up in Pittsburgh right now. They're playing against the Cincinnati Reds tonight, and it's one of those things where that even up here, that play is being played, and I'm doing interview after interview because of that play back in 1992.
Hey, Sid, stay with us. We're going to cut to a commercial break because I do want to get into how this curse of the last 20 years and how it's kind of you've sort of been thrown into the middle of that. So here's the first commercial break, first trivia question. What were the names of the three brothers who played the outfield for the San Francisco Giants in the 1960s? And again, the theme is brothers in baseball. The first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. What were the names of the three brothers who played the outfield for the San Francisco Giants in the 1960s? Again, 888-660-4. You should know this one.
Do I need a clue or
no,
do I
don't
need
a
a loo? Do I need a clue or let me mull that over.
You're terrible. Okay, make sure to include your name, your email address. Speak slowly, spell out your email one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because when Sports Econ 101 comes back, we're going to continue on with Sid Bream. Okay, great. Thank you, Sid. That's the first one. We'll just take a little bit more of your time, then we'll be done, okay?
Very good.
Okay.
As soon as you're done here, I'm getting in a car and going down to the game. So.
Okay.
That's exciting, boy. There's going to be some kind of an electric feeling inside that stadium. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, for 20 years you haven't been above 500, and now all of a sudden you're playing for a playoff position.
Oh yeah.
You tell me what it's going to be like. I mean, it's going to be rocking.
Well, I can only equate that to the 2007 Golden State Warriors in the NBA. They had not been to the NBA playoffs since '93, and then all of a sudden they're in it, and then they eliminate the Dallas Mavericks, the top seed in the first round, and move on. So I know the feeling in that building. So, well, tonight's just going to be terrific. Yeah. You know, well, we can get into it when we get in here.
All right. Okay. And then, Sid, did you get my text about the organization that you're helping with the foundation?
Did I do what now?
I sent you a text with the because of the foundation. If you guys ever come out.
Outdoor Dream Foundation. Oh yes, I wanted to speak to you about that.
Okay.
I did speak to the head of that, and I don't know if you remember the movie Radio.
Oh, we love that movie.
Well, Coach Harold Jones is the one that started that.
Oh.
And so, and now Coach Harold Jones still makes his appearances, but Harold, his son Brad is basically the one that is running that thing at this point in time. But he said absolutely. He said, he said there's no doubt that they can bring a kid out there to be a part of that. So we just need to hook you guys up and start talking so that they can find somebody out there to be a part of that.
Okay, great. Yeah, just have them get in touch with me. In fact, before we let you go, we'll get into like what you're doing now. Your ministry.
Definitely promote it. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce McGowan, who will be joining us soon. And we have Sid Bream on the phone, famous 1992 NLDS, the famous slide. Okay, first commercial break, first trivia question. What were the names of the three brothers who played the outfield for the San Francisco Giants in the 1960s?
Let's go with Matty Alou, Felipe Alou, and Moises.
No, not Moises.
No, not Moises is the son.
It's the son. Come on.
Felipe, Matty, and...
Sid, do you know the answer?
Well, I knew the first ones. Felipe Alou, Matty Alou, and
Jesus
Alou. That's right.
Jesus
Alou.
Okay. So, Sid, one of the things I was going to ask you about is, after that slide, the Pirates have not been in the playoffs for 20 years. And were people kind of looking at this as like, the curse of the Billy Goat or the curse of the Bambino? How much did people put the pressure on you because of it?
Well, that has been the thing the last several years for sure. They have called it the Bream curse. And, I've heard that numerous times. Going out on the speaking stage, people up here in this neck of the woods, people throughout the baseball community would call it the Bream curse. And so I've been identified as the curse at this point in time, but thankfully they broke it this year, and last year I thought that they broke it because they were 16 games over 500.
Oh, yeah.
On August 9th of last year, and I thought, well, shoot, they're going to break it this year, thankfully.
Yeah, but you know what?
And then they went into a tailspin, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I do have a curse word.
Yeah, but you know what though is the difference between like okay, let's say Bill Buckner. I mean, he made an error, so he did something wrong for his team. All you did was just do the best you could for the team you were playing with at the time. You know, and I wonder if maybe it's because you used to play for the Pirates.
I think that's probably the situation that comes up the most is because I had just gone from being in last place in 1986 to winning it in 1990 in our division, and then all of a sudden, people don't understand the story of why I went to Atlanta. I mean, then all of a sudden, in 1 year, the Atlanta Braves goes from last place to first place, and we go ahead and eliminate the Pittsburgh Pirates. So all those fans have an animosity towards me because I just destroyed their chances of getting back to the World Series. Not only in '92, but we also knocked them out in '91 as well.
Yeah. That was the last. Oddly enough, that was the last play for Barry Bonds as a Pirate because it was off to San Francisco for him.
I mean,
exactly. I mean, they dismantled that team at that point in time, and slowly got dismantled, and they weren't the team that they were supposed to be. And Jim Leland left because of they weren't going to do anything in order to keep a quality team there, and so he left, and Dan Slag left. I mean, all of them left. It was a shame.
I wanted to ask you about the Braves, though. I mean, because now the Braves are also in the playoffs. The Braves have the Dodgers, and on paper, I say, looks like a mismatch because the Dodgers, the Braves were the Dodgers' daddy in the regular season. My gosh, I mean, the Dodgers couldn't catch a break against these guys. But again, hey, you got to roll the ball out there and see what happens. But it at least at the outset, it looks like advantage Braves in that series.
I mean, you are correct. I mean, and that's the great thing about not baseball, but all sports. You can throw papers out the window when it comes to the playoffs. And I remember that the Philadelphia Phillies years ago had gotten beat by the Dodgers. I mean, I don't know if it was 12 straight games or whatever, but they had gotten beat every game that they played during the course of the season. And then they went out there in the playoffs and beat them. So I mean, it doesn't matter at this point in time what paper says. I don't care what analysts talk about. Who comes into that thing playing hot? I mean, they're the team. I mean, look at the St. Louis Cardinals last year. I mean, a wild card. They just went through the system and beat everybody. And who's hot? I mean, that's who's going to win.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to pick up on that because Billy Beane, the general manager of the A's, he came out and said that, hey, this is his whole sabermetrics thing where he uses facts based on who can get on base. That works over the course of a 162-game season, but in the playoffs, again, it's just a crapshoot. I mean, if a team gets hot, that could be it.
You are correct. I mean, all the on base percentage and how you hit against this. Well, look at David Price yesterday. With the Texas Rangers, they talked about how the Texas Rangers owned him. And what did David Price do? I mean, he stepped up to the plate and won the ball game for Tampa Bay Rays. It doesn't matter at this point. I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, for ourselves here, the Pittsburgh Pirates will win tonight against the Reds, and then we'll see how far they go. But that's just the name of the game. Who's hot? Who's able to get the crucial hit? Who's going to pitch the best one mounts? I mean, you never know.
I was going to make one comment about how the fans were treating you, and I'm thinking, you know what? I mean, you're supposed to do your best. What do they want you to tiptoe coming from third to home just so that the fans, can have their way? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
That reminds me, and by the way, we're joined by our partner Bruce McGowan, who's just sneaked inside the radio booth. but that also reminds me of the great John Gruden, who faced his former team, the Oakland Raiders, in the Super Bowl in 02. And somebody was asking him about his allegiance, being a Raider, and now he's coaching the Bucs. He said, hey, look, man, I can't stand up here and just split myself in half. I'm the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's it.
And I'm here to beat the Oakland Raiders.
And you remember how much you enjoyed beating the Oakland Raiders?
Oh, well, geez, wouldn't you?
My gosh. Now, that was the worst move Al Davis ever made.
Can you imagine facing a former employer? In fact, Sid Bream can speak to it. A former employer and turn around and just stick it to him like that? Oh, my God.
That's it. You got to stick it to the Pirates with that slide home, beating Barry Bonds' throw. That was what a moment for you.
That's what we've been talking
That's the
about.
ultimate, man.
Yeah.
So, Sid, what are you doing nowadays? I understand you're involved with some foundations.
For the most part, I mean, I have a son in college, but what I do is I go out and do a lot of speaking, and that is my time frame at this point in time. I've been down now about 42 times, and that has been what I've done.
And what has been your underlying message in your motivational speaking, in your appearance? What's been the one that you really wanted to hit home?
Well, the thing that I always, I mean, if you look at our country, guys, I mean, our country, I mean, we're just going way off base. I mean, this country was founded on godly principles.
By the way, a country that's taking a break.
That's right. We got to take a break sometime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead, Sid.
Sorry, Sid.
But I mean, it's when I try to go out and I share a bunch of stuff. I can go anything from baseball. I can talk about leadership. I can talk about all kinds of different things. But my talk always comes back around to my relationship with Jesus Christ and what that means to me and how other people can have that. And that is what makes me get up in the morning. That is what gives me a peace at night when I put my head on the pillow. It's what gives me a peace because my kids are all there, and I know that if something would happen to me, I'd see them again in heaven. So
I've always envied
share with people.
Sid, I've always envied people such as yourself who have this strong faith, because I do think it not only provides solace but gives you such a foundation. I am not a person of traditional faith, but I totally respect and get where you're coming from, and it's interesting because I find my faith in just, we all find our faith in different places, but it is so important, I think, for people to have something, some kind of foundation. And I mean, I'm not being preachy here, but you know this better than I do.
Well, I mean, when there's, back here in this part of the world, we had 4 teenagers that were really, really close. And what took place is one of them was a boy and 3 were girls. One boy got into an automobile accident, got killed. I mean, there was no hope in these 3 girls. I mean, they were so tight that there was nothing else for them to live for. And they decided they were going to jump in front of a train to end their lives.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, folks, I mean, when you're at that place, I mean, there's somebody else that loves them and appreciates them, and there has to be something else for them to have a hope and a security other than, somebody else here on this earth that's gonna, you don't find too many friends that are going to stick up for you and get called friends like Christ was. And so I agree with you. I mean, hope is lost in this place, and if people would just put their faith in Christ and understand what He did for them, I think their lives would be a whole lot better.
I just want to ask you, how long have you been a Christian?
I grew up in a Christian home, but it was 13 years old when I gave my heart to Christ.
Good.
In that vein, and this is a thought-provoking one, Sid, what do you think of the athlete who just scores the game-winning touchdown, the game-winning basket? Little sideline reporter comes over and says, "All right, I'm with blah, blah, blah. Man, what an exciting, thrilling play. Hey, you're the MVP. Give me your thoughts. Take us through that play." And the first thing to say is, "Well, first of all, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ." Then they go ahead and answer the question. Some people kind of roll their eyes at that, but what's your take on it?
My take on it, guys, is shoot, that individual understands that his ability is not his own. I mean, Christ gave him the ability to be out there and for him to be able to give thanks to the Lord that gave him that chance to be out there. To me, I mean, it's nothing wrong. I mean, it's not that he's trying to preach his faith to everybody. He's just saying, "Lord, thank you. You're the one that gave me the ability, and I recognize that, and I'm giving some of the praise back to you."
Well, Sid Breen, thank you very much for joining us on the phone. I know you got to head off to the game now. Blessings to you, my friend, and hopefully we'll have you on again, okay?
Great to talk to you guys. I mean, enjoy yourself out on the West Coast, and let's go Bucks.
All right.
All right, Sid.
Go Pirates.
Okay. All right, really quickly, cutting to the second commercial break. Again, the theme is brothers in baseball. Many people remember Cleet and Ken Boyer, but who was the third brother? First three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Many people will remember Cleet and Ken Boyer, but who was the third brother? 888-660-4495. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be right back. I had to cut it off.
Cloyd? I think
Yes!
Yeah.
Very
He didn't-
good.
he hardly played.
You missed the Alou brothers question.
Oh, well, that's too much of an easy one for me.
That was
Oh,
too
you know,
easy.
I have to apologize to you guys.
That was low-hanging fruit.
I had
Yeah.
such a good time today. I was out at the beach.
Surfing?
I surfed for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and the waves were incredible for
Wow.
me. I mean, it was like playing. I was telling them, it was like hitting 70 on the golf course.
Can you take pictures or video for us? Thanks very much.
There were lots of people out there, but it was real mellow. I would say lots of people, 15 guys. This is out of Bolinas, and I'm just about 2 hours into the session, and this beautiful young woman comes over. She's smiling, and she's like 22, 23. And I remembered her talking to her somewhere. We had surfed together with 2 other people, just 4 strangers, for 2 hours once, like 3 months ago at Ocean Beach.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great?
Isn't that
Wow.
wonderful? So, she was having a great time.
You realize I lived through osmosis through you, and now it's gone because you didn't take any pictures. Thank you very much. It was good. That was good getting you. It was good.
Said Brave,
interview.
yeah.
Yeah, we got into
That was a
you
good get.
didn't hear the beginning part because we got into. What I did was I played the clip
Oh.
first.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Clip to intro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like a rejoiner.
There are not that many guys that are talking about Christ as much as they used to. They do in little spots.
Yeah.
But I remember in the 70s and 80s, Vern, and I'm sure you remember this, guys would talk about it a lot more. I mean, Jack Clark was into it. I remember on the Giants, they had a whole core of guys. It was just...
Jack Clark.
Well, he kind of was a Johnny come later. He was more like Gary Lavelle.
Yeah, Gary Lavelle. Yeah.
The
And Bob
preacher.
Nepper.
And Bob Nepper.
Bob Nepper. And my dad used to yell at the TV, "Stop pitching with your Bible."
Yeah. Well, that's what Vida said later. Vida said, we had too many guys that were soft. They hadn't had championship years, and they were Jesus freaks.
Well, they thought David Robinson was a real pushover because he was Christian too. That kept it- But then Reggie White kind of put that a little bit to the.
Yeah.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's fun.
Well, that was good. How'd you know Cloyd?
Oh, Chloe,
Bruce McGowan, man. Come on.
Baseball.
I am not worthy.
Baseball.
I got another one that I thought was hard, but
Okay.
the encyclopedia over here will know.
No, just baseball. I'm good with baseball.
Okay, right. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce McGowan.
Yeah.
And Sid Breen, thank you very much. That was a great interview. When we got to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Many people remember Cleet and Ken Boyer, but who was the third brother? And our encyclopedia brother here, Bruce McGowan.
I just know these baseball facts. I don't know why my mind is a repository for all this minutia. No, but it was a guy named Cloyd Boyer, and
yes.
Cloyd, I don't believe, played very long in the majors.
Okay, who did he play for?
Now that I think it was either one of the Yankees or Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's right.
what's the Social Security number?
Ask me his position. I can't give you that.
What are the Powerball
I was
numbers
going to
for?
say another infielder because the other two
I got to
brothers.
stump him on something.
I was going to say Ken and Cleet were third basemen. I don't know what position Cloyd played.
Not sure.
But,
Okay, let's see. Changing subjects here for a minute.
How did the Boyers come up with that name?
Yeah,
Do we have
Cloyd.
Bill, Bob? I know
Cleet?
Cloyd. Yeah.
Cleet's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
but
but
Cloyd,
yeah.
yeah.
That's an
It's
interesting.
got to be somebody's last name, maybe.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Or,
I don't know.
a thing on Lloyd.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, good old Ken Norton. He passed away a couple
Yep,
weeks
Ken
ago.
Norton Sr. Yep.
Great fighter.
Now,
3 epic battles
Oh,
with Muhammad
and he
Ali.
won.
Yes,
He
he won
won
the
over.
first
Won one of them.
Won the first one.
But he should have. I
Should have won
Yeah,
at least one of the other two.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And he broke Ali's jaw.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, he did.
Yeah.
So I got a few notes here I thought were kind of interesting. You guys remember the original Rocky movie? Okay. So it's amazing to me how many of the comparisons between this, all right? So Ken Norton breaks Ali's jaw. Now, in the movie Rocky, he kind of breaks the ribs
Of Apollo Creed.
right?
Yep.
Ken Norton visits Ali in the hospital, just like Rocky. They have to both be in the hospital at the same time. And Ali tells Norton, I never want to fight you again.
Ain't gonna be no
Ain't gonna be
rematch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna be no rematch.
As Carl Weathers said, there's a dragging him off the floor there.
Yeah, that's right.
Carl Weathers, a former Oakland Raider.
That's right.
right.
Carl Weathers was a
He was a
good
DB,
player.
was he not?
No, he was a linebacker,
Linebacker,
and a
okay.
special teams player in the early 70s.
Yeah.
On some of those great Raider teams.
And it's amazing because that guy had a stellar body.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then when it comes to another fight between Norton and Ali, Ali rallied to win a narrow split decision. And remember, the first Rocky, there was that very split decision, right?
Right.
Okay, and in the Ali fight, there were unanimous boos at the stadium, and that was September of '76.
Because they thought that
Norton won.
Norton had won the fight.
So very similar, to
Interesting.
Rocky. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Interesting. And then, of course, his son, Ken Norton Jr.,
Yeah.
Played
Good
for
guy.
Dallas.
Cowboy
Now,
linebacker.
he's coaching.
49er
Isn't he?
linebacker?
Is he coaching
Yes,
up
he
in
And he's
Seattle?
on the coaching staff
Yeah,
for Seattle. Yeah.
Was he coaching the linebackers?
Linebackers, yeah.
Wow, I tell you, that team scares me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
our good friend Pete
it
Carroll
was
is the
nice
coach.
that Pete Carroll
Yeah.
had him on his staff at USC,
I
and
did
then
not
took
know
him with
that.
him to Seattle. Yeah.
Wow.
And the only reason why I know that is because USC was in town to play a game, and I sat down and did a little thing with Ken Norton Jr. And I said, boy, what do you miss most? I mean, you miss being around the guys. What do you miss most by not playing? I miss those checks.
Well, you think about 3 rings in a row. 3 rings in a row.
Yeah,
2 with Dallas,
yeah.
1 with the 49ers
Yeah.
from 92 to 94. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great stuff.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating. Watching the Seattle-Houston game. Okay.
Why does he throw that pass?
I know.
Jeez.
He did not watch
What
the
is it?
clock.
And of all people to make the play, Richard Sherman.
The guy's a
Wow.
Wow.
If you're a Raider fan,
That
how
was
about-
a stud play.
if you're a Raider fan, how about the pass that was thrown right in the direction of the defender for Washington by I can't remember who was quarterbacking for the Raiders. My mind is still on
Pryor?
those ways. Not Pryor. Pryor was out. Their backup.
Matt Flynn?
Matt Flynn. He
Oh,
throws
boy.
a pass. He just telegraphed it, and this defensive back for Washington just said, "Oh, thank you very much."
And I was at that game where the
Yeah.
cascade of boos coming
Oh.
down for Flynn. I mean, he just couldn't.
Oh.
He can't run.
No.
Okay.
No
and
mobility.
I asked him after the game. I said, did it seem like by the time you counted to 3, you had a hand in your face? And he was like, well, he's trying to come up with something
That's
to
what's nice
say.
about Peyton Manning is that
Yeah.
he's getting rid of the ball in 3 seconds.
Well, his left side of his
Manning has so many weapons.
But,
though.
it's amazing to me, Vernon. The left side of his offensive line is hurt. I mean, Ryan Clady, they're all pro
Yep.
tackle, and the center, I believe.
Yeah,
is
they got a
out.
rookie tackle in there
Yeah.
guarding his blind side, and son of a gun, gosh.
He's having an incredible season.
You know what? A great thing about Manning, because I was in Denver for the Bronco Raider Monday night game, and I mean the Raiders were giving him every kind of look they could. I mean, we were making adjustments on the fly. They were and Manning would adjust his cadence to make the Raider defense shift
Yeah.
to show him something, and then right there, Manning would call an audible and adjust to that and hit the open man.
It's like he couldn't even.
All
write the script.
within
Wow.
seconds.
I think he had 31 to 36 or something in that game.
That was incredible. It was incredible. And then
Yeah.
threw 4 more touchdowns over the weekend.
God.
the man's a machine.
Can you imagine?
36 years of age?
I know, and with a neck injury.
Yeah.
Like that. Can you imagine
Wow.
being the defensive line? How frustrating that would be. You're going to get in there, and 3 seconds later, boom, the ball's gone. I mean, you can't really do anything.
And he's such a charismatic guy off the
great
field.
guy.
I mean, and just notorious pitchman for whatever product is out there. I gotta believe his price tag has gone up
Ooh.
with every touchdown pass. Ka-ching, ka-ching,
How'd you like
ka-ching.
to be his brother, though, Eli, playing for the
Oh.
0-4
Oh, my
New York
gosh.
Giants? The 2-time Super Bowl champions are 0-4. That's
Yeah.
unreal.
That's a little scary.
Crazy. They're 0-4. The Steelers are winless.
Yeah, and
Man.
the Redskins were almost winless, and they were the NFC champions of the East last year. So, NFC East champs, and if they didn't beat the Raiders, they'd be 0-4.
Wow.
Okay, quick question for you guys. You saw the wild no-hitter?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
The wild pitch?
Yeah, the wild
Heard about
pitch.
that.
Okay.
I think this is the first time that's happened.
Yeah.
A game has ended in that fashion.
A
Yeah,
wild
fashion,
pitch
yeah.
with a no-hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I was thinking about the weirdest endings to baseball games.
Mm.
What you guys, off the top of your head, can you think of anything strange? While you're thinking about that, let me tell you
Okay.
about the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
Watching a Giants game, and it's bases loaded. They're playing in San Francisco, home team, right? and I can't remember who they're playing. I think it was the Phillies. And or excuse me, not bases loaded. There was men on second and third with 2 outs. So they decide to intentionally walk whoever the batter was to load the bases to get the third out, right? The last pitch of the intentional walk is a wild pitch. He throws it over the catcher's head, and the guy scores from third and wins. That's how he won.
Some bizarre ones, man.
I'm thinking of one that's maybe not so unconventional, but a Game 5 of the 2002 NLDS, Giants in Atlanta, tie series 2-2. Giants are up by 2 runs in the ninth. Runners on the corners. Gary Sheffield's up with 1 out, hits a bullet. Snow grabs it, tags first base, throws to second. They tag out the runner, and it's a double play. Boom, boom, like that. The game's over. It's like, what happened?
Wow,
They
we
won.
didn't even react.
Yeah, and the Braves didn't even. It was like, what? It's over?
Yes. Excuse me. What just happened? Yeah.
Okay, back to football for just a quick minute, though. Did you guys hear about the mercy rule for football for the 7 to 13-year-olds? Did you hear about this?
They have it in high school. I mean, it's different.
Yeah, but this is a little different.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. If they're going to institute stiff new penalties, and of course this is in Northern California, institute new stiff penalties for any teams that beat opponents by 35 points or more. They're actually going to fine the coaches $200. They're going to fine the teams $200, and they're going to suspend the coaches for all league activities for 2 weeks.
That's a little insane.
Isn't that
crazy?
That's crazy. I mean, I understand.
I'm sure that's brought up by some disgruntled parent who's got a kid on one of the teams
Yeah.
and are just getting smashed each week. And what little power this parent has just imposed his will to change the rule.
And I understand the reason that they propose something like this. I mean, nobody should run up the score, but that's absurd. Come on.
Yeah, they said here some players.
What if you're not trying to run up the score? What if you're just running the football and you just run through these guys like Swiss cheese?
Yeah. What are you supposed to do? Fall down?
Yeah.
I guess you're supposed to take a knee in the third quarter.
Well, they said one of the problems is that these 13-year-olds who hope to serve as a high. Excuse me. Let me go back. Okay, so some players have begun insisting that their development is being hurt. Okay, one team has stopped attempting any field goals, leaving the kicker unable to attempt any scoring kicks except extra points.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a problem for a 13-year-old who hopes to serve as a high school place kicker.
Yeah.
In the fall of 2014, right?
Sure.
So
Bunch of former soccer players anyway.
Yeah.
Just get them from the
I want
soccer
to kick
team.
a touchdown. I want to kick a touchdown.
Yeah.
Remember who said that? Gary Apremian. They
Yeah.
almost ran him off the field. I want to kick a touchdown.
Yeah, so it says here the players on their son's team are afraid to score once they get a lead for fear that the coaches will be penalized and the team won't be able to play. So I guess what do? You purposely let the other team score,
I guess.
and then you do it again and just keep it up like 30
What league is it? Where is that?
It says Northern California, Sacramento.
Edward, I've been doing
right.
some local high school football games on the internet radio here in Marin County, and I'd say 7 of the games have been blowout games, and they've had a couple of times. What they do in high school is that they run the clock. Anytime, there's no timeouts unless there's a timeout.
So even if the ball goes out of bounds, the clock
continues to run, and the game is over quickly.
That's like Pop Warner.
And it's Marin Catholic, which is our number 2 ranked team in Northern California, has been winning by an average score of 48 to 15.
You know,
so
God, like an old timey basketball score.
I mean, so they're just running the clock. The last half part of the game is just
So that's a scorer's decision. I mean, who's making that decision?
That is a rule. I guess it's a high school rule that's instituted here in California.
Speaking of rules, and I apologize for burying the lead of the weekend coming up, but what is going to be done about the last baseball football stadium and these scheduling issues when it comes to baseball playoffs and football games? The Raiders
going to play what, 8:30 at
Raiders
night?
play an 8:35 Sunday night kickoff with the Chargers because the grounds crew, they need at least 18 to 20 hours to convert it from baseball to football.
That's crazy.
Well, it's okay. The people in New York, they have nothing to do at 2 a.m., right?
Well,
they can start watching the.
You think the people in New York are interested in the San Diego Chargers against the Oakland Raiders? I don't think so.
Those that got a little cabbage on
come on. There's so much more action on Sunday than the 49er game.
But
I hear you.
But really, I mean, it's kind of it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Everybody else is in the league. They got a football only stadium and a baseball only stadium.
And neither one of those teams is happy with their stadiums. I mean, the Raiders kind of so.
But
He's
they're
absolutely hate-
but I have to be. Well, Edward, you're a billionaire. There's got to be.
I'm
There's
a
got to.
trillionaire. No,
There's
I'm kidding.
there's got to be enough of them
Yeah.
here to be able to, fund two different states. We're talking about $1 billion, what, $1.5 billion,
Well,
maybe.
here in the Bay Area, look how difficult it is. I mean,
There's land.
the
You have
San
land.
Francisco, for them to build Pac-Bell Park, they had to
Is
use
it
private money.
is it the land, or is it
It's
or
the
is,
land.
is it so much that, or is it so much these people who have the money
That's part of it too.
want to be in the position to manage the building that they're funding?
That's
part of
it.
I think it's competition.
Yeah, that's
Right?
part
And
of
well, you know what? We'll have to get someone on
Yeah,
the.
that's a good topic.
On the show for
That's
that
a
because
very good
there's-
topic.
Yeah,
I mean, I know. I mean, I can understand. I mean, if I spent that much money, I ought to be able to manage the
Yeah.
building that I've fronted all the
Makes
money
sense.
for.
You know who'd be
Okay?
great? A great
and I want a baseball team as my tenant.
Sure.
Sure. I mean, I
More
get
games.
that. But I mean, it just raises all
No,
kinds
but then you did-
of
but then you
issues.
do that, but during non-baseball season, then you can have like concerts and stuff,
Yeah.
days on the
Right.
ground, which kind of ruins the field.
You know, Pat Gallagher, the former Giant front office guy, and I know our audience doesn't know who he is, but he was around the Giants organization for almost 30 years.
Okay,
Yeah, we should get him
We'll
as a
get
guest.
him on. Okay,
Yeah,
we gotta cut out here
Yeah.
for the third commercial break. Here's the trivia question again. The theme is brothers in baseball. Who next time I'm gonna choose a different sport. You're too good at this. Okay,
No, just baseball.
Andujar Cedeno.
Uh-huh.
What's his brother's name?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no, Jesus was the Lou brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. The first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Who is Andujar Cedeno's brother? And he obviously plays baseball, or else we wouldn't have him on the question here. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
Is that the
Isn't
outfitter
it,
for?
isn't it Cesar Cedeno?
Or is it the outfitter from Houston? The guy.
Toronto.
Toronto. I'm
I've
thinking the
never
guy
heard
that
of
killed his girlfriend, or allegedly
Oh.
killed her, but he was let off. The Cedeno who played in Houston back in the 70s. What was his name? Remember, he shot his girlfriend in Puerto Rico, and then he got. They didn't have enough evidence, so they let him go. But the family,
Wow.
he gave the family, I guess, $10,000 or something.
That's enough for
Hush money?
killing.
Yeah, well, yeah. There was a guy, and the Giants had a player like that just came up. Was in the minor leagues.
Yeah, first baseman, Villa, not Villa.
Yeah, I know you're talking
Well,
about
you-
Villa.
But you know,
Yeah.
he played with the San Jose Giants.
Yeah. He allegedly, he was involved in some melee where somebody was killed.
Mhm.
It's like that giant. You know what happened at that Giant Dodger thing, that fracas where the guy got stabbed? It sounds like
Yeah.
the one guy slammed him, and there was just a all-out brawl, and one guy was going to kill the other guy. And so,
See,
unfortunately,
it didn't sound like he was so innocent. Something
both
he-
of them
yeah.
sound like a couple of punks.
Couple
Yeah.
of hoodlums.
You know, and I hate to say it too, because the parent, I saw the thing with the mom and the dad, and they must be agonizing. The brother, the son.
I mean, to lose a kid like that.
Yeah.
And you were apparently,
Yeah.
your father was around
Just
the
a
area,
rough
right?
cat. Well, and the guy was living up in Fort Bragg. I know what those kind of people are like. I have friends of mine from there. That's a wild kind of subculture up there. It's not a real. It's almost like an inner city situation. Not a lot of killing, but it's a lot of dysfunction, drinking, and a lot of drugs. It's bad.
Speaking of bad, anybody see the ending of Breaking Bad?
I heard about it.
Wow,
I got.
what a
I
finale!
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
not-
my
I've seen-
God!
Haven't seen any of the.
It's supposed to be really good, huh?
Yeah, that's the one the next
Can we
about.
can we tell them what happened?
You get all 5 seasons.
Or-
Yeah.
Are you a big fan of it?
But you have to.
Never
But you have to.
seen
it.
You have to start with season 1. You have
the
to.
key character is killed off at the end by the government agents or something. The key character, the drug dealer, the guy who's got cancer.
Government agents? No.
No, he doesn't kill off. Somebody
Is
is
it
killed off.
is it the end of the season? End of the whole show?
Into the
End
whole
of the whole
show.
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 Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, why? I thought it was so popular.
But the guy
Well,
wanted
they
to move
just
on.
decided to end it, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Was it 6 years?
5
5 years? That's a pretty good run.
5 full
How
years.
long was Entourage on for? 3?
7 years? Wow.
Oh,
I like
I'm
it.
gonna
You know
have
the
to
one
look
I've
at
seen that I've only seen it a handful of times. It was really good. Homeland. That
Oh
was-
yeah,
that
yeah.
was-
The new season just started.
I gotta say,
Really
Claire,
good, man.
I love Claire Danes. She's terrific. In
She
it.
is.
Boy.
I can't think of any other actress who could play that role
Yeah.
like she has.
She's amazing.
that.
It's really good.
Everybody loves Raymond. I like that.
Man.
That's what it's different.
I don't watch that much TV, but
Carrie
I'll
Mathis.
watch it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
a
always
CIA
preparing
agent
for the
was on
show.
CBS this morning, just talking about she's got a book coming out, and she says for as great a role as Claire Danes is playing in Homeland, it's so unrealistic, you know. But she's like cell phones in a federal building? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just. But anyway.
Well, it's Hollywood.
You
Yeah,
know why I
it is
can't watch
Hollywood.
too much TV? Because I'm preparing for the show. Hello.
Right.
All right, you guys ready? Just have a couple minutes left.
You got it.
All right.
Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
Hello.
and Bruce McDonald.
And
When we get to the third commercial break, final one, we asked this trivia question. Who is Andujar Cedeno's brother? Maybe we should get him on the line and ask him.
Joaquin?
No.
Roger?
No. Sam, Fred?
Sam, Fred?
Domingo.
Domingo.
Plays for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jeez.
I
I don't know. I don't know half the guys that are playing these days. You well, you have to because you're. But I don't know half of them. I mean, I used to. All of them.
Yeah, I figured that was kind of tough.
Yeah.
Okay, quick little thing here. The New York kid gives the Grand Slam ball back to Rodriguez. Remember
Nice
Nice gesture.
Nice gesture.
12-year-old
Yeah.
kid, right? That he broke. Rodriguez breaks
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig's record for hitting Grand Slams at 24th. And
What did A-Rod give him?
well, he said, "Hey, buddy, nice catch."
That's all.
That's all he did.
Come
on.
on.
No. No autograph bat, no jersey, no. Come on.
You're gonna be kidding me.
No,
That's all I have here.
Hey,
I'm calling shit. No.
Oh my God, man, you rotted
Kid
kid.
had to get
And
something.
the kid said,
I gotta believe the kid got
He
something.
must have gotten
He
something.
probably got something. He says the kid gave it back because he felt the slugger had worked hard for the feat and deserved it.
Well,
Good.
A-Rod was a great player. At one time, he was the best in baseball. It's just a shame what happened to him. The steroids, the money.
That is true.
He's not a bad person. He just is a little full of himself.
Well, you get Madonna in your life, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Okay, thoughts for the day. During
Madonna,
my,
boy,
okay,
just-
so,
That's
okay,
right.
so guess who said this? During my 18 years, I came to bat almost 10,000 times. I struck out 1,700 times and walked maybe 1,800 times. You figure a ball player will average about 500 at bats a season. That means I played 7 years without ever hitting the ball.
Whoa.
That was Mickey Mantle.
Oh my goodness.
And it says here, I became a good pitcher when I stopped trying to make them miss the ball and started trying to make them hit it. That was Sandy Koufax.
Wow.
And Jim Murray, sports writer, said about Sandy Koufax, he said Sandy's fastball was so fast, some batters would start to swing as he was on his way to the mound. Tune in next
That's
week.
pretty fast.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away more vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening on behalf of our team. I'm your host, Edward Brown.
Good night, America.
We'll see you next week. So long. That's it.
Oh, that was fun.
That's a wrap.
Always fun with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Always
All
fun.
right.
God,
So hopefully I'll get toward the end of October.